Hey everyone, my name is GiBi and welcome to the Chris-chan update for the week of February 17th through February 24th. The Dr. Phil petition I supported on my last episode has reached 900 signatures and we just need a small push to get it past the 1,000 mark. I think we can do it, and I'm going to explain why I think we should do it. Now, this petition isn't going to get Chris on Dr. Phil. You need to actually consent to be on the show, and who knows if Chris would do that. But what Dr. Phil does do is look into strange people. And if just one person on his team, who actually has the power to help Chris from the outside, looks into his case and is horrified with what they find and is a kind enough soul to actually help, then we could say mission accomplished. Dr. Phil has a Twitter account, @DrPhil, and I think once the petition reaches 1,000 signatures, people should tweet at the account saying that they want Dr. Phil to help Chris. A lot of people who supported the petition probably did it just for the meme, and when I first mentioned it on a live stream, I was joking around. But the more I thought about it, the more I felt like we actually have a chance to help Chris. The reason I'm backing the campaign so strongly is because I don't think we have much time left to help Chris before his mother passes, and if we can just reach one person who can get Chris the help he needs, that's all we'll have to do. Now, we might already have that person, but it's a little up in the air. I recently saw an interview from back in January with the leader of the Kiwi Farms, which is a forum that follows Chris and other lolcows. I'll play a bit of the interview now.
I don't. It's going to be the darkest saga for him because once she's gone, I don't know what.
I disagree. Once she's dead, he's gonna be better off because she takes a lot of money from him. She takes like $950 out of the $1,300 a month he makes off of welfare income for disability, and she spends it mostly on shit.
Well, yeah, but he's not going to be living in that house.
No,
right?
The house is gone.
Yep. Do you think he's going to be able to competently manage his bills? He's going to spend it all. He's going to take his tugboat, and he's going to spend it on the newest PS4 games, and then he's going to go on the internet and say, buy my comics because I'm going to be homeless if I don't pay my fucking rent by the first or the third.
Well, the thing is, when we had a plan in place for Barb dying, and we were legit going to fucking drive over there and manage his finances. No, I swear to God, I am a fucking bleeding heart. I was gonna do this. I had other people who lived very nearby, people who had contacts with assisted living facilities and shit, and we had a fucking battle plan. And it's just like over time, you lose a lot of sympathy for him just because of how intentionally he alienates people who don't want to play exactly to the T with what he wants to do. And what he wanted to do was further submerge himself in this fucking delusional bullshit that I can't stomach.
So this makes me feel a lot better about the situation. I have been terrified that Chris would just stumble around totally helpless once his mother died. But the idea that someone out there has a plan makes me feel better. The problem is that the Kiwi leader says he stopped contacting Chris because Chris is just so annoying with all the dimensional merge nonsense. I'll play that part too.
I'm just not going to do it now because I can't deal with the Mewtwo shit. And whenever you talk to him, you never talk to him because whenever you talk to him, he sends a message back like, "Yeah, I had a conversation with Mewtwo, and she assures me that this is going to happen in the next week." Or I'll tell him something like new information that he should be aware of. He's like, "Magi-chan told me about that, and this just confirms that." And it's just like, I'm not doing this. I'm sorry, but not sorry. I'm not playing this game.
I hope that when Barb does actually die, he'll still lead this effort to help Chris, and I believe that in his heart he still wants to help. But at the end of the day, this is what the Dr. Phil thing was about. It was about finding someone who could really, actually help Chris. But maybe this person on the Kiwi farm has been the person we're looking for all along. Now that we're done with that small update, I wanted to mention something. One of my Discord members was talking about Chris on 4chan, and someone else assumed it was me talking. I don't go on 4chan. I don't go on Kiwi Farms. I'm not undercover on any website. If I have an account somewhere, I'll state that it's me on my Twitter or my YouTube if asked. I've been told from some people that there's a group of people on Kiwi Farms that don't like me because I got quite a few details wrong in my absurd video about Chris. So from now on, I'm going to focus more on things happening now in Chris's life instead of the past, and I'll clearly indicate when I'm speculating about something, which I'll be doing later in this video when I talk about the captain. But before we get to that, we have to talk about what Chris has been doing this week. Thankfully, at the moment, I am being allowed to view Chris's new Twitter account, so I can continue to bring you updates. There's only one thing of interest Chris has said this week that I feel like talking about, and that's that one of his fans drew art of Chris fighting a gender-swapped version of Count Graduan. Chris then informed this fan that Graduan has switched sides and is now a good guy. Now, I'm not caught up on Sonichu lore, but Graduan has been the longest-lasting enemy of Chris, as he is a physical manifestation of Chris's high school graduation. For the character to turn good, it might indicate that Chris has finally moved on from this trauma, which is a healthy step, but it could also just mean that Sonichu has grown more inane as Chris continues to focus on things other than the villain, which mostly have all been defeated. Speaking of growth, let's talk about the 3 videos Chris put out this week. The first is a short overview of a new pony character, Gary Stew, who many believe was created by a troll, as the term Gary Stew is a male variant of the term Mary Sue, which is a derogatory name for overpowered fanfiction characters. I'll play a little bit of that.
Hello everyone, I'm Gary Stew, and I know what to do. Everything I say and do is right, just like a certain lady friend of mine.
Gary, it's time to come home. Come on, we got dinner.
Alright honey, I'm coming. That's our Gary Stew. I better fly. I'll see y'all again another time. Farewell for now.
Chris's second video is a lot more interesting. The Brony Analysts are a group of bronies who have gathered together on YouTube to discuss and analyze My Little Pony and play games and such. I haven't watched any of their content because it's not something I'm interested in. But I've been told that some of them are quite the characters. One of the main members is Dr. Wolf, who has a video series where he acts as a psychiatrist to characters from the TV show. Dr. Wolf is not a doctor in real life, and some are concerned that these videos might give bad advice to the viewers. Chris apparently watches these videos religiously, because he has recreated his own discussion with Dr. Wolf, rendered in Lego figures. He made his own Dr. Wolf Lego, and one for himself, and he acts out a conversation between the two of them. He gives himself advice and films it for the world to see. He obviously went to a lot of effort to build this entire set for himself, and to set up the means to film a live Lego segment. I'm going to show you clips from it now, and then we'll discuss them. But before that, I wanted to give my 2 cents on the concept of what Chris is going for. Chris picking someone he admires in real life, like Dr. Wolf, and bouncing ideas off of him in his own mind, and asking for advice, is a very healthy thing to do. It's something that I do. Asking yourself what someone that you trust, who's smarter than you, might say, is a good way of speaking honestly with yourself. And even the physical act of Chris playing the scenario out with Legos can be seen as a good thing. Granted, this is mostly for children for whom this kind of thing is helpful, but we all know what Chris is like. So I approve of what Chris is doing here, it's just the actual content that I have issues with. See, Chris uses the video to try to persuade the Brony Analysts to unblock him and be his friends, so let's watch.
So, Mrs. Chandler, tell me what's on your mind. Well, Doc, on our Earth in Dimension 1218, I am very well known and famous for my creativity and my science comic books. And I have many fans and followers, amongst which in the fan base, they're trollish haters and harassers. More recently, though, they have been targeting and harassing the Brony Analysts that I like, including the creators of Lightning Bliss, Mad Munchkin, Firebrand, Eliora, Kichi, and a few others. Thank goodness your creator is not on Twitter, Dr. Wolf. Too much drama! And those particular analysts blocked me on Twitter. I seriously felt and still feel rejected.
Chris once again states that the trolls are the reason he has been blocked. The analysts have said specifically that they blocked Chris because of who he is and because of harassment from him.
Meanwhile, I've had to commute to here, Dimension C197, via astral projection, sending myself, the whole soul, to do all the work that I've been doing with everyone and by myself and so forth. And I'm either in my human or my Sonichu form, and I'll typically end up going CPU. Access! The tough part is having to leave my body behind in 1218. Oh, but very soon I shall finally be able to bring my body here to C197. Anyhow, I had to be here in C197 and around Quickville. And after Maddie's creator blocked us, my body's mind, still very much functional and reasonably intelligent, but not as much as I, and yet more so prone to the autism and mentally retarded effects, and it gets very emotional. Really? Could not take the blocking anymore!
Chris once again states that he believes his body will be able to go to C197, the fictional dimension. He currently sends his mind or his soul there, but he thinks the dimensional merge will mean his body will go there as well. This is nothing new from him, but maintaining the delusion is of course concerning. He represents this with two different Lego figures, one for his current body and one for his body on the other side. He even says that his autism, and to use his own word, his retardation, is more prone to his earthly brain. This could indicate that Chris thinks his autism will be cured after the dimensional merge.
I had thought the trolling haters and harassers were at fault for the reason of their blocking me. But it turns out, as I have been told by a valid source, they blocked me due to my past and not wanting to be sucked into the drama of my life, and apparently my obsessive behaviors too. I have a touch of OCD from the autism.
So Chris is now admitting that he knows he was blocked from the Brony analysts for his past behaviors and his obsessiveness, meaning it wasn't the trolls, which is negating what he said just a minute ago. And now he's claiming to have OCD from the autism. Now, I'm no doctor, but I am actually diagnosed with obsessive-compulsive disorder, and I've only seen a few symptoms of OCD from Chris. For one, his hatred of alcohol and cigarettes could stem from OCD, as they could seem impure, although he did end up drinking alcohol and smoking marijuana, which makes me doubt that this stems from OCD. Being an obsessive collector of things, as we all know Chris is also a symptom of OCD. Although that usually has more to do with completing collections and keeping things neat and in their proper place. I think it's more likely that Chris is just a hoarder, which would be an attribute that he picked up from his parents. If I had to guess, and again, this is just conjecture, I would say that Chris does not have OCD.
It makes me feel like I'm falling into another depression again. I feel like I want to just scream so much. I'm pretty much verging on becoming suicidal. Hell, that's not good at all.
And here is the moment that everyone was talking about when Chris made this video. Chris says that he is verging on being suicidal. As I stated before, I am no doctor, so I don't really want to read too much into this. Suicide and depression are very dangerous things to talk about, because you could tip someone over the edge by trying to help them too much, or you could not do enough and allow something bad to happen. What I will say is that the casual way in which Chris just said that he's suicidal makes me think that Chris doesn't actually mean it, or doesn't actually understand what suicidal means. I'll play the clip again and you can listen to his voice. It sounds kind of like he's reading off of a script, which isn't something you usually do when speaking from the heart about something like this.
I'm pretty much verging on becoming suicidal. Hell, that's not good at all.
So, while I am extremely worried about Chris, and am no longer laughing at how ridiculous it is that his whole world was thrown upside down because some YouTubers blocked him on Twitter, I don't actually think he's suicidal, although I would feel better if he had some more positive influences in his life. Chris then speaks through Dr. Wolf, like, forever. He just keeps going and going and going. He compliments himself. He discusses how he and the Brony analysts could help each other and that they should be friends, and no one cares about this. Chris is just playing out his fantasy and telling himself what he wants to hear, and what he wants to hear is that this isn't his fault. Chris then uses the most backward logic that I've heard in quite a while. He takes the golden rule, which is treat others the way you want to be treated, and states that if he stopped pursuing the Brony analysts, they would end up being upset because they want fans. The idea that he might not like them would make them feel sad, because he feels sad when other people don't like him. It's hard to understand exactly what he means, especially because this just makes absolutely no sense, so I'm going to play out his entire explanation, including his freak out at the end, so you can hear how he puts it.
With my background, one can tell I have a real difficult time not being liked by anyone, and famous people, including the analysts, do not cope well with being not liked by others either. And when one also considers the adage, treat others how you like to be treated, I feel like if I stop my efforts to show the analysts that I am normally likable and cool to talk with and simply make them stop not liking me, they will feel not liked by me, and they will feel at least a little bit saddened by that, as well as the torture knowing or thinking I didn't like any of them, and my not liking them becomes virally popular by the haters and the harassers all over the world. It would put an end to their popularity, egos, and especially their emotions, feelings, of subconsciousness. And I can empathize with that. It would just be like a whole major end to them. It would just be so horrific and terrible. I would not be able to get over that. I would not be able to, just because I did all that. It's my fault, my fault. Now let it continue on, not just because of my mentality and sake, but for theirs as well. I mean, shoot. Everybody hating everybody else is just a horrible, horrible, wrong thing to do in this world. And they think I'm not liking them, and everybody else not liking them either. They go down. It's my fault. It's just...
Chris then gets right up into the camera and tells the audience how kind he is, and to never misconstrue what he means again.
Do you all hear me out there in Dimension 1218's Earth? I am usually kind, supportive, and sincere. Never, ever, ever, ever misconstrued me again. Please.
He literally just growled at the camera angrily after saying he doesn't want to be viewed as angry. Then there's this cat blooper for some reason.
Good. Cat on the set. Hungry cat on the set.
So all of that to say that this video is obviously just Chris's latest plea to be let into the Brony analysts. I'm glad he made it because it gives us more insight into how he's thinking, but for his own best interests, he probably should not have uploaded this on the internet. Now, let's talk about the captain for a moment. The captain has become quite this enigmatic figure in Chris Chan lore, because there are so few details on his existence. We only know about him because Chris tweeted that the captain said he could see magi-chan, proving that Chris isn't crazy. This indicates that the captain is someone Chris met in person at least once, and at the very least fed into Chris's delusions. It is unknown if the captain has done anything else, but some things have been attributed to him, or may be related to him. Note that this is speculation. So, someone took control of Chris's Twitter account claiming to be magi-chan and doxed Lucas a few weeks ago, and I covered that on this channel. It's possible that this was the captain, but it could easily have been someone else. Now, there is someone that we know has access to Chris's Twitter account, and his name is Marvin. Marvin is a Kiwi Farms user who has helped Chris in the past and seems to be a good guy. He isn't a troll. Marvin apparently helped Chris block people who were posting annoying things under his tweets during the block saga. This could mean that as many as 3 people have access to Chris's Twitter account: the captain, the person who doxed Lucas, and Marvin. Or there could be as few as 1, if Marvin is the captain and if he doxed Lucas. If Marvin is the captain, then I would say that the captain is harmless. If I were trying to help Chris, I might lie and say that I could see magi-chan to make him trust me so I could get close enough to actually do some good in Chris's life. And seeing as Lucas and the Team Troon Squad did some trollish things to Chris, doxing them could be justified. If this is the case, then the captain is a good guy. As far as I know, however, even Kiwi Farms doesn't know who the captain is, and Marvin hasn't stated that it's him. So if I had to make an assumption at this moment, I would say that they are different people. As always, if anyone has any more information about this, please contact me. Finally, a new episode of Beneath the Bridge has been released, and the series is really shaping up to be something amazing. It's given me more insight into Chris's life than most videos, and it's presented in such a more easy-to-consume manner than the Quickie that I think it could replace it entirely. And that's everything for this week. Some people have noticed that sometimes I miss out on things when I'm making these videos, but that's because they happen after I record but before the video goes up. I have to record these videos usually 2 days ahead of time so I can edit and upload them with my bad internet. If you want to stay totally up to date about the Chris stuff, you should follow me on Twitter at GiBi_Devon, which is spelled D-E-V-O-N, or join my Discord server, which is linked in the description. The link only works for 24 hours, so get on that while you can. Starting very soon, I'll be doing live voice chats with my subscribers about Chris. I already have more than 30 people signed up, and they'll be the first wave of people that I talk to. After that, I'll open up the chats again for more people to sign up to. Thank you for watching, and I hope you check out some other things on my channel if they pique your interest, like my ongoing series about old NES games, and my series about other absurd people like Chris.